5 questions and then we end the discussion. If you have a question, just come sit here. Please, Ellen, you had a question.
So grateful to have a chat with you, Bruce. Yeah, so I'm Ilem Rodney, political scientist, and apparently I had some questions. Yeah, you overemphasize on the divine economy, but you made it also clear that the economy is a human institution. It's a human construction. It's a question of human beings. Then why should we emphasize on the infinity of some supernatural powers controlling the economy? I don't know if at all that's the issue that can also be posed, to be answered.
Well, I think you're off the mark on the that it's a human institution. I don't say it's a human institution. It's a divine institution.
You said it's a divine institution?
The economy is a divine institution, not a human institution. Where it fails is where it transforms into a human institution. That's where the failings are.
All right. So if at all it's a divine institution, then why is it that 20% of the population controls the economy and the 80% still remain in poverty? Is God with the 20% and without the 80%? Anyway, that's an issue that I would want to pose to you. I don't know if I should ask some more questions and you answer them at once.
Okay, so anyways, the reason we're in this condition we are is because human intervention into the economy. That's why you see these injustices and all the problems are created by humans interfering with the flow of knowledge that needs to happen for it to be a divine economy. Its potential is a divine economy where those conditions that you described don't exist, but in that potential is interrupted and corrupted by human intervention.
All right. So if at all you say that without human beings there's no economy, then apparently human beings have to have control over this economy. Yes, I think I can add on one question to this, and you are overemphasizing that it's the market where the solitary individuals become social beings. That's what you said, and it becomes a conflicting ideology in the aspect of my country, Uganda, where we interact even before reaching the market, and we are like the social production, yes, agriculture and all that. So by the time someone reaches the market, people are already social beings. People have clans, people have tribes, people have language that unifies them. Reaching the market, they reach when they're already human beings. They are social beings, So I think what this emphasis of saying that it's the market where we become social beings, it's kind of realistic in societies where people live as individuals, where people don't know each other. People live in gates and whatever, and they just come out to buy things, So I think it's conflicting in a country like mine. So sometimes I say that knowledge is subjective. Why is it subjective? Because it has to deal with a specific society that resonates with the ideology. Because living in a society where you are, you see very many people living in solitary, let me say houses or homes, where they get to interact more when they go into the market. So I think that's conflicting in the aspect of my country.
Well, if you looked at it, I broadened the definition of market. Market is not marketplace. Market is where individuals interact. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I don't know where that was. There was some breakup there.
Yes.
Anyways, I was answering the question. I don't know where we are. My answer to your question was that if you look, I broadened the definition of market. It's not the marketplace. It's where individuals start to interact with each other and become social. So, like you were saying that in your country, in Uganda, people interact in many ways before they get to the market and they're interacting and they're becoming social. Well, what I'm saying is that the definition of market is too narrow. It's not marketplace. It's where these individuals interact. So it goes all the way back to where they do become social beings. That's the market. And that's where, and because the market is where this flow of information is taking place. So an individual, once they start interacting with another person, it initiates this flow of information. That's the market. Doesn't matter whether it's exchanging goods or not. It's this flow of knowledge.
All right, thank you very much. Those were my only questions. Thank you very much.
My first question is, what were the assumptions that you based on when making this model? Because if you get to know those assumptions, they could help in putting the boundaries on that model. Because as far as I know, is when you're developing a model, you have to first lay forward the assumptions so that as critics, we get where we start to critique your model for further development of the model. That is my first question.
Well, my background, I'm an economist in the classical liberalism tradition. And in classical liberalism, then the other point where, and then it began as an Austrian economist, as a classical liberal. I just developed, using deduction, I developed that model. But the foundation of it is that that science and religion are in harmony. And that didn't exist prior to, I mean, if you look at the economics teachings out there, they separate religion and science. And it's not accurate if you do that, because they are in harmony. And you can't get a full understanding if you only look at half the picture.
Okay, so when you say that you developed it from a science and religion perspective, according to me, science and religion, they cannot correlate, because when you put science in place and you put religion, those two things contradict right from the very beginning, because we see science tells us that the earth has been in place for over billions of years. But when we look at it from the religious perspective, it tells us that the earth has been around for like 6,000 something years. So when you say that science and religion are in the same place, I think that is highly contradictory, because even the theories in place, they contradict already, because we cannot relate science and religion. You either have to take one.
Well, the thing is, both science and religion, their purpose and what their function is to search after truth. Okay, and they come at it at different angles, but that's what they're doing. Okay, and so they're in harmony because they both are after the same thing. The other aspect of it is that both science and religion have been perverted over time by humans. This human intervention is not unique to economics. It's not unique. You know, religion has interpretations throughout the ages, and every time there's an interpretation, it deviates from if it's imposed on other people, it deviates from the search for truth, independent investigation of truth. So they're both searching after truth, but they both have, historically, they have inaccuracies in them, both science and religion. I was talking about this, this economics, there's all kinds of economics out there, and they're all going in different directions, but they don't really get to the point of the heart of the issue, because they've been misinterpreted over time. And same thing with religion, it's been misinterpreted over time. So you think, oh, it's only 6,000 years old, and science, we already saw that economics has deviations from the truth. So both science and religion are searching for the same thing, but they've been corrupted by the same thing, which is limited human understanding being put on them and then imposed on people.
Okay, so my last question is, you talk about interconnectedness, like the model has to work as a whole, all the functions of the model, law, order, human spirit, and transformation, they have to act as a whole, like the art system, right? But we've seen scenarios where some of the aspects could be taken out. So when I take out law and I remain with the three things, does that render the model ineffective?
Like that. But if you do look at that, there is a reason for it. And the reason is because somewhere down the road, there's something that's preventing those aspects of the economy from functioning properly. And it's always humans imposing their will on the economy, which causes the disruptions, which makes it look like, oh, the economy's not working. We need to interfere more because it's not working. Well, the reason it's not working is because you interfered the first time.
Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm called Vincent. So
Nice to meet you too.
I'll be straight and I will ask a few questions. In chapter 3, you talk about the morality, the ethics, the ethical part of the model. And the one who informs morality, according to the book, it's the existence of God or the belief in God. So where do those who don't believe in God fit in this model? NEB, I believe in God, so this question is not biased. I'm a Christian, but I'm asking for the sake of understanding the model.
I didn't hear the first part of your question. It broke all up.
Those who don't believe in God, where do they get the moral rule? Where do they get morality from? Sure. Yes. Okay, is there where to type it? She's not getting. Okay.
I heard the now, but
Yeah.
oh, type it. Okay.
And this laptop. What? Okay, I've typed. Those are okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So are you hearing me okay?
yep.
Okay. Well, the first two chapters, you can capture the meaning of them, of the models, without necessarily believing in God. I mean, it does say it's a divine economy, but I also said that another way of describing the divine economy is this idea of economic equilibrium that's keeping everything in balance in the economy. So that is another term that could be used instead of thinking of divine economy. So a person could understand and accept the macro model and the micro model, human virtues. I mean, that should be acceptable also to a person who doesn't necessarily believe in God. When you get to the third chapter and the fourth chapter, it does kind of require that you recognize historical significance of religion over time, because that's what moves humanity forward. The supreme ethicist comes and gives information to mankind, and mankind transforms himself and society based on that. So I think a person who has no acceptance of the historical significance of religion, probably would have difficulty with that part of the model.
Okay, thank you. I've sent you
Okay.
my last question. Yep. So who organizes everything? The equilibrium, the flow of infinite knowledge, the natural justice. How does it become practical? Who organizes it in practical ways that can really do something?
Okay, so the idea of laissez-faire, where hands off, is part of this concept of the divine economy. The difference is that it recognizes that humans are spiritual beings. So then they're they're the ones that are making the choices, and they basically, the flow of knowledge that comes from them when they're interacting with each other, that knowledge is what people then use to make decisions. And so then they make decisions, and it goes into the process of the market again, and they make more decisions. And it naturally extends throughout the market and to everyone in the world. The other thing that's interesting that I wanted to make a point about is ethics. Whether a person believes in God or not, ethics is what's required for ethics to continue to develop. So humans are at the stages of society, or at certain stages. How they can progress is if, like, for instance, if ethics advances, then society advances. Well, the economy, we're talking about the flow of knowledge is what keeps it going and makes it accurate and makes it work properly. Well, that flow of knowledge also includes ethics. I mean, people interchanging with each other, coming to love one another because or not to love each other, respect one another because they're exchanging or whatever. That's an ethics that develops. And so if the economy is stunted because intervention is in there saying, oh, this is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. We need to do it this way. Doing it that way. And humans are intervening in that. They're preventing the flow of knowledge. And when that flow of knowledge is prevented, so we don't advance as a society if we're
but I want to end this call. Thank you so much for joining us and for being online throughout the whole discussion.